The notification comes in quietly. No sound, just a small vibration. Minimum payment due, $38. He's sitting on the couch, TV still running in the background, but not really watching it. The room is dim, late evening. The kind of time when everything slows down just enough for small things to feel louder. He taps the notification. The number looks harmless, almost polite. $38 isn't a problem. He scrolls down. There's a larger number below it, but his eyes don't stay there long. They go back up to the minimum. That's the number that matters tonight. There's a moment, a quiet calculation that isn't really a calculation, more like a feeling. Yeah, I can do that. He pays it. The app confirms. The balance barely moves, but that part doesn't register because the problem feels handled, and for tonight, it is. But this is where something subtle begins, something most people don't notice. The next morning feels normal. Coffee on the way to work, $4.75. Lunch later, $13.20. A subscription renews midday, $11.99. None of it feels excessive, it's just life moving. His salary hits once a month, around $3,200 after taxes. Not bad, not great, just enough to feel stable most of the time. Rent takes $1,250. Utilities and internet about $220. Car payment $310. Insurance $140. By the time the fixed expenses settle, there's still money left, enough to feel like there's breathing room, but not enough to feel ahead. And then there's the credit card. It started small, a few purchases here and there, something unexpected one month, a trip booked a little too optimistically another. Now the balance sits around $3,800. It's not urgent, it's not overwhelming, it just exists. Each month, the same rhythm repeats. Use the card a little, pay the minimum, move on. It feels sustainable, and that's exactly why it continues. But this is where things quietly shift. At first glance, nothing looks broken. Bills are paid, no late fees, credit score is okay. From the outside, everything appears responsible, but the system underneath tells a different story. Because the minimum payment isn't designed to eliminate the debt, it's designed to maintain it. That's the part most people don't see. Each payment mostly covers interest, not progress. So even when he pays every month consistently, responsibly, the balance barely changes. And that creates a strange illusion. It feels like effort is happening, but the result stays the same. And over time, that disconnect becomes normal. Months pass, then a year. The number is still there, slightly different, but not gone. And this is where it gets interesting, because nothing dramatic happens. There's no crisis, no breaking point, just a slow, steady continuation, which is exactly how people stay in it. Let's slow this down for a second. That $3,800 balance, with an average interest rate of around 20%, the minimum payment, about 1 to 2% of the balance, so roughly $38 to $60 per month. Now here's what's easy to miss. If he keeps paying only the minimum, it could take over 10 years to fully pay it off. 10 years. And during that time, he doesn't just pay $3,800, he ends up paying closer to $6,000, sometimes more. Not because he made a mistake, but because the system is built that way. And most people don't notice this part, because the monthly number never feels large enough to question. $38 doesn't trigger concern, but stretched over time, it quietly reshapes everything. This is not financial advice. There's a reason this pattern feels comfortable. It doesn't interrupt daily life, and that matters more than people realize. Because most financial decisions aren't made logically, they're made emotionally in small moments. Standing in line, scrolling late at night, clicking confirm without thinking twice. And the minimum payment plays into that perfectly. It reduces pressure. It tells you, you're fine, you're handling it. So there's no urgency to change anything. Meanwhile, life keeps moving. Friends go out to dinner, colleagues upgrade phones, vacations get posted online. And without saying it out loud, there's a quiet expectation to keep up. Not dramatically, just enough to stay included. So the card gets used again. Not recklessly, just casually. And each time it feels manageable, because the minimum is still manageable. But this is where the pattern deepens. A few years pass. Nothing drastic has changed. Same job, slightly higher salary now, maybe $3,600 monthly. Rent has gone up too, expenses adjusted, life expanded a little, but the credit card, still there. The balance might even be higher now, not by a lot, just enough to stay noticeable. And something subtle starts to happen. Choices begin to narrow, not obviously, but quietly. Taking time off feels harder. Switching jobs feels riskier. Unexpected expenses feel heavier because there's always something already owed, and that creates a kind of background weight. Not stress exactly, just limitation. And most people don't connect it to the minimum payments because nothing ever felt urgent, but the real shift happens later, when time is the thing that's missing. There are people in similar situations who experience money differently. Same income range, same cities, same basic costs, but their approach feels quieter, less reactive. They still use credit cards, but the relationship is different. They don't focus on what's due this month. They notice the total. They notice how long something stays with them. And more importantly, they notice how much space they have, not just financially, but mentally. Because when there's no lingering balance, decisions feel lighter. Time feels more flexible. There's less negotiation happening in the background of every choice. It's not about discipline in the way people usually think. It's more about awareness, seeing the full picture instead of just the monthly version of it. And once that shift happens, the minimum payment starts to look very different. Not dangerous, just misleading. That same couch, same room, another night, another notification. Minimum payment due, $42. He opens it again. Same layout, same structure, but this time his eyes don't stop at the minimum. They drift lower, to the total, and then a little further, to the interest. There's a pause, not dramatic, just longer than usual, because now there's context. Now there's a sense of time attached to the number, and for the first time, the payment doesn't feel like progress. It feels like continuation. He doesn't rush to close the app. He just sits there for a moment, thinking, not about what he can afford tonight, but about how long this could last. And that's where things start to change. Not in action, not yet, just in awareness. And sometimes, that's the part that matters most. If this helped clarify things, consider subscribing.